When my progress bar reached 99%, Tyra Harris said she wanted to test the goods. I worked tirelessly through the night. After it was all over, I heard the system's shrill alert. Host, the affection level has dropped from 99% to 60%. It seems she's quite unsatisfied with your bedroom performance. I fell into a spiral of self-doubt, desperately trying to improve my skills, until I overheard her boasting to her best friend. David Wilson still doesn't know that I can manipulate his progress bar at will. It's like training a dog. When he performs well, I increase the affection level as a reward. When he messes up, I lower it to force him to improve. The first time we slept together, I wasn't satisfied enough, so I dropped the affection to 60%. I bet he's spending all his time now figuring out how to please me better next time. Ding! Story Shots reminds you to click the subscribe button at the bottom right corner to read the full novel. Laughter erupted from inside the private room. I stood outside the door, feeling as if I'd been plunged into an icy lake. Just 3 days ago, I was still lost in the fantasy that my strategy was about to succeed. Tyra Harris's affection for me had reached 99%. I was just one step away from winning her over completely. That night, Tyra hooked her finger around my thigh, her breath warm against my skin. "David, I want you." She said that the union of body and soul was the highest form of love. I swallowed hard, agreeing with a nod, letting her take the lead. Unfamiliar waves of pleasure washed over me. With this new level of intimacy, surely my strategy would be complete. But I never expected what happened next. After it was all over, Tyra's affection for me plummeted to 60%. Barely a passing grade. I was bewildered, thinking my poor performance had disappointed her. Little did I know it was all just a means of training me. Inside the room, the laughter continued. I heard others teasingly comment, "When it comes to training dogs, Tyra's the expert. With that golden touch of hers, isn't David putty in her hands?" "Naturally," Tyra drawled, swirling her wine glass lazily. "These strategy-obsessed men, they'll do anything to get that affection level to 100%. Like this time, I just wrinkled my nose at his tacky boxers and lowered his score. Next time, he'll be wearing those tight briefs without me saying a word, doing everything to please me." Bloody hell, that's brilliant. To come up with something like that. Tyra, you're a legend. Who do you think taught her these tricks? The man beside Tyra raised an eyebrow languidly. "I showed Tyra how to completely control a man. You have to break him down in bed, make him doubt himself. When he's on the verge of falling apart, give him a little sweetness. Then everything's in our Tyra's hands. Isn't it? You sly fox, you." Tyra's nails traced up the man's thigh, lightly scratching at his Adam's apple. This man, Tyra had mentioned him before. His name was Bob Edwards, with a fit body and seductive eyes. He was the famous top male model at this nightclub. The crowd around them hooted and whistled. "Ooh, Tyra, surrounded by men on all sides. You're living the dream, aren't you?" "David? He's hardly part of the dream. He's as green as they come." She unbuttoned Bob's shirt, her fingers tracing his abs. "Being with Bob, now that's truly living the dream." Bob lowered his head to her ear, his teeth grazing her earlobe. "Liar. Then why are you still with him? Am I not satisfying enough?" Tyra brazenly declared. "I need a good husband and father, a obedient pet. Besides, he's been trying to win me over for so long. I pity him." She looked at Bob, desire dripping from her gaze. "But when it comes to excitement, I prefer a bad boy like you." The two became more entangled, eliciting cheers from the onlookers. "Tyra, aren't you playing with fire? What if David just gives up?" "Impossible," Tyra said confidently. "Every time he's about to give up, I raise his affection score to 99%. When he's so close, how could he let go? I keep him on the hook like this, always just short of the goal, always at my beck and call." An indescribable feeling of suffocation weighed heavily on my chest. Tyra was right. To raise her affection to 100%, I was willing to do anything. I desperately wanted to go home. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given only 2 months to live. It was then that I received an invitation from the system. If I could complete the mission in this small world, I could return to reality and regain my health. I agreed without hesitation. Like a person adrift in the vast ocean finding a piece of driftwood, I threw myself wholeheartedly into the mission. As long as I could increase Tyra's affection, I was willing to set aside my pride and become whatever she wanted me to be. Over these 3 years, every time her affection dropped, I would frantically replay memories, searching for where I might have gone wrong. Correct. Verify. If her affection rose again, it meant I had made the right changes. It was through this method that I became her perfect boyfriend, step by step raising the mission's affection to 99%. This time was no exception. I thought that if I just studied bedroom techniques well enough to satisfy Tyra, I could regain her affection. So I went to great lengths watching adult films, looking at erotic images, and even purchasing sexology books to study women's sensitive areas. Theoretical knowledge wasn't enough, so I went to nightclubs to observe the interactions between men and women. But as I passed by a private room, I overheard Tyra's earlier grand speech. I originally intended to go to the nightclub to learn how to flirt, but now I've changed my mind. Taking a deep breath, I summoned the system after a long time. System, I want to go home. Help me abandon the mission. That scene just now made me fully understand. I would never be able to successfully win over Tyra Harris. I was like a donkey, with Tyra dangling a carrot in front of me, and I obediently walked forward. Rather than staying here and continuing to be insulted and toyed with by her, I'd rather go back and spend the last 2 months of my life with my family. Unexpectedly, upon hearing my decision, the system immediately let out a shrill roar. Abandon? What the bloody hell are you on about? You're the top-ranked among this batch of pursuers. I was puzzled. Top-ranked? That's right. I was counting on you to finish this job so I could retire with the bonus. If you quit, how am I supposed to retire? Wait, I don't understand. I pulled up the pursuit panel and triple-checked. Right now, Tyra's affection for me is at 60%. With such a low affection, how am I top-ranked? The system scoffed. Who said rankings are based on affection levels? That's the outdated method of old generation systems, lacking scientific basis. Each pursuit mission has different difficulties. Some start with 90% affection, while others start in the negatives. If we used reaching 100% affection as the success standard for all, it would obviously be unfair. So, the new generation of systems keeps up with the times, using the fluctuation range of affection as the new standard. The greater the fluctuation, the more impact you've had on the target. And you, my host, your pursuit affection has been constantly fluctuating, up and down, which is enough to prove that the target is hung up on you, hesitant and undecided. This is true success. I was stunned by the system's words, but I understood the meaning. It was precisely because Tyra could arbitrarily control her affection for me that my data went up and down, fluctuating greatly. She was doing it to train a dog. Yet it accidentally fit the system's new standard, helping me achieve the top rank among this batch of pursuers. A fortunate accident, a narrow escape from despair. Seeing my expression soften, the system hurriedly persuaded. Host, for every 1% increase or decrease in pursuit affection, you gain 1 point. According to the rules, 2,000 points is considered a successful pursuit, and 5,000 points can earn you a £1,000,000 cash reward. Half for you, half for me. Now you're only 666 points away from 5,000 points. Do you really want to give up this money-making opportunity? I cautiously asked. Are you saying I've already succeeded in the pursuit and could return to reality and regain my health? But you didn't tell me? The system immediately became sheepish. Well, I wanted to earn the bonus too. Seeing how gifted you are, shooting up to first place on the points leaderboard in such a short time. What system wouldn't be tempted? Even if I beg you, just put in a bit more effort. 666 points isn't difficult for you. My chest warmed up, and amidst the excitement, I composed myself. 70-30 split. I get 70, you get 30. Agree, and I'll continue the pursuit. You. Think carefully before answering. If it weren't for your deliberate concealment, I would have gone home long ago. Why should I endure this humiliation here? The system stammered incoherently for a while, then finally nodded vigorously and wailed to the heavens. Oh, system me. I've met a right shark. Steam filled the bathroom. For 3 years, I had lived in anxiety, trying every way to please Tyra. Now, knowing I would soon be going home, I finally felt truly relaxed. Water flowed down my body, washing away the grime from the nightclub and erasing Tyra's traces. Click! Suddenly, the bathroom door handle turned. Who's there? I quickly grabbed a towel nearby and wrapped it around my waist. Who else could it be but me? Tyra chuckled lightly as she stepped into the bathroom without hesitation. Only then did I remember her fingerprint was still registered on the door lock. I hadn't deleted it yet. Get out. I'm showering, I said coldly. Tyra paid no mind. She raised an eyebrow slightly, condescendingly increasing her affection level by 1%. What's the matter? Don't want me to look? You used to be quite eager, she said. Her gaze fell on my toned chest as she slowly approached. David, it's been days. Can you really resist? In the past, to maintain the rising affection level, I would have gone along with her even if it meant gritting my teeth. But now it was different. Who cared about increases or decreases as long as that damned value fluctuated? I took the shower head and aimed it directly at Tyra, spraying her. The water jet scattered her meticulous makeup, leaving 2 black streaks of mascara on her face. Get out, I repeated. Tyra wiped the water from her face. When she looked up again, her eyes were full of impatience. David, you know I don't like this playing hard to get routine. Be good, and we might have something to discuss. I said nothing, just staring at her coldly. Tyra frowned, but only for a moment before it turned into a confident smile. The next second, her fingers lightly tapped the air. The affection level dropped by 10%. Based on past experience, such a large decrease would have made me panic. To win her back, I would have lowered my standards once again. A smile of assured victory appeared on Tyra's face. She raised her hand and placed a gift box on the wash basin. I bought this for you. Put it on and come out to show me when you're done. With that, she strode out confidently, closing the door behind her. After she left, I walked over to the gift box. Opening it, I saw a pair of black briefs, semi-transparent. She had come to test the results of her conditioning. I picked up the flimsy scrap of fabric masquerading as underwear, feeling my stomach churn in disgust. Turning to the wardrobe, I dug out a turtleneck sweater and cargo trousers from the bottom drawer, then donned the black-rimmed glasses that Tyra despised so much. I bundled myself up from head to toe. As I pushed open the bedroom door, Tyra was perched on the window seat, painting her nails. The scarlet brush danced across her fingertips. The moment she saw my outfit, the cap snapped shut with a crisp click. What's the meaning of this? Her gaze swept over my fully covered form, her crimson lips pressed into a thin line. Where are the trousers I gave you? You mean this scrap of cloth? I pinched the thong between 2 fingers and unceremoniously tossed it at her. Is your fashion sense still stuck in some tacky male strip club? How utterly cheap. Tyra rose to her feet. Her stilettos tapped out a dangerous rhythm on the floorboards. David! Her cold acrylic nails dug into the nape of my neck as her perfume enveloped me. You're feeling quite bold today. Is this your new strategy to attract me? As her hot breath tickled my ear, her hand followed suit, slipping beneath the hem of my sweater. I swiftly caught her wrist. Attract? Hardly. After all, your skills in that department are rather lacking. David! Tyra's expression contorted beneath her flawless makeup, a mix of shock and fury, as if she'd just swallowed a fly. Your little tantrum needs to have limits, or else. Or else what? After 3 seconds of tense silence, the system excitedly announced. Affection -10%, -7%, -4%. Current level, 30%. Go for it, host. We're about to strike gold. I couldn't help but laugh. Bending down, I retrieved a book titled The Joy of Sex from the depths of the drawer and slammed it on the table. Time for some homework, princess. Chapter 4, Section 3. How to avoid making your partner feel like they're being scrubbed with sandpaper. With your level of skill, you'd be too rough even for a job at the Turkish baths. Best not embarrass yourself out there. Tyra stared at me intently, her face a mottled mix of red and white. She seemed perplexed, wondering why I wasn't affected by the drop in affection. Fine. Very well. She took 2 steps back, smoothing her skirt, eyeing me thoughtfully. Whatever madness has gotten into you today, you'll pay for your words. David, don't come crawling back on your knees begging me. Watching her storm out, slamming the door behind her, I didn't even bother to raise an eyebrow. The system popped up, full of concern. She's gone just like that? We're still so far from our point goal. How are you going to fix this? No rush, I said, leisurely cleaning my black-rimmed glasses. I've already set the stage for a few entertaining scenes. We'll take it slow. At midnight, the phone screen lit up on the pillow. It was a friend request. A snarky message floated in the notification bar. Mate, Tyra wants me to teach you how to wear knickers. My fingertip hesitated. For the past 3 years, I had obeyed Tyra Harris without question, never defying her, let alone blatantly rebelling like I did today. She was using Bob Edwards to teach me a lesson. I accepted the friend request. Soon, a photo came through. In the picture, a man was in a push-up position, wearing a leather collar around his neck. The semi-transparent thong I had thrown at Tyra was hanging around his waist. Don't be mad, mate. Tyra says mine's bigger than yours. Ding, affection -5%, currently 25%. The system suddenly spoke. She's waiting for your reaction. My reaction was to have no reaction at all. I turned off my phone and went straight to sleep. When I woke up and checked the log, the affection had dropped 8 times, 1% each time. Finally, seeing no reaction from me, it plummeted 10% in what seemed like frustration, clearly showing Tyra's psychological turmoil last night. David and I were in a cold war. She ignored me and I ignored her. But we weren't completely disconnected. After all, every day the system would give me real-time updates. Affection level -2%, plus 1.5%, -1%. Almost every few hours, the affection level would fluctuate by 1% to 2%. Tyra really was thinking about me constantly. She kept fiddling with the progress bar, wanting to see my reaction. The system was getting anxious. User, the affection level fluctuations are too small now. At this rate, how long will it take to get the bonus? Why don't you go apologize and raise the affection level first? I shook my head. The time wasn't right. Before, I was focused on getting the affection level to 100%, afraid to do anything out of line. Now that I've stepped back, I've naturally realized Tyra was used to keeping me on a leash like a dog, not knowing that the one holding the leash would eventually become a puppet. Every time she adjusted the affection level, it was a silent acknowledgement of her influence over me. She was anticipating my feedback, and once my feedback didn't meet her expectations, she would become anxious and continuously agitated. In this psychological game, I was also her inescapable controller. I was waiting for an opportunity to bounce back. Finally, a week later, late at night, that opportunity came. Tyra's best friend called me, saying she was drunk at the club and needed me to pick her up. I went. Pushing open the door to the private room, Tyra was lazily leaning on the sofa. Bob had her half embraced, intimately caressing her cheek with his fingertips. Catching a glimpse of me entering, he deliberately left a conspicuous kiss mark on her neck. "Oh," David came so quickly, someone in the room teased, with a hint of mockery in their voice. Tyra's charm is really something. One call and you come running. Tyra's expression, which was originally tense, turned into arrogant certainty when she saw me arrive. Her chin lifted slightly. I walked over, my face expressionless. Bob looked up, his Adam's apple bobbing as he let out a sneer. Tyra said you've been in a bad mood lately, insisting on playing hard to get. He paused deliberately, as if he just realized. Tisk, am I giving away too much by saying this? The room erupted in laughter. Someone teased, Tyra, you've got one on each arm. Isn't David jealous? Tyra swirled her glass, her gaze falling on my face. Jealous? As if he's worthy. Bob took the opportunity to wrap his arm around Tyra's waist. Tyra, that's so harsh. Even though David got his position through persistence, it's still too much to say that. I let out a cold laugh and took out my phone. On the screen was a picture of Bob in boxer briefs that he had sent. How pitiful, I said quietly, looking at the two people in front of me who were playing off each other. You thought you could provoke me by having him wear the underwear I threw away? Tyra's expression instantly darkened, and Bob's smile froze on his face. David, what do you mean? Tyra's voice carried suppressed anger. Let's break up, I said calmly. I came here today to officially inform you. Tyra, I'm done serving you. The room's laughter came to an abrupt halt. Tyra stared at me intently, her eyes dark. After a moment, a smile with an unclear meaning tugged at her lips. You want to break up? She stood up, stepping towards me. David, what right do you have to break up? I turned to leave. I'm tired. This game ends here. You have no right to call it off. Tyra suddenly grabbed my wrist, her tone heavy. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Last time after we slept together, the affection level plummeted from 99% to 60%. You were very disappointed, weren't you? Thought you failed the conquest, that you had no chance left. Hearing these words, I let out a long sigh of relief internally. Finally, it's here. After all this build-up, the plot has finally reached the scene I wanted. I pretended to be horrified, raising my head in disbelief. How do you know about the conquest, about the affection level? Tyra looked at my reaction with satisfaction and spoke slowly. To tell you the truth, I not only know about it, but I can control it. She slightly raised her eyes, looking above my head. Current affection level, 8%. Tyra slowly read out my current value, the corner of her lips curling into a mysterious smile. David, did you think these affection levels were up to you? With just a flick of my finger, the stats can change. As she spoke, her finger lightly swiped. The affection level instantly dropped from 8% to 3%. I widened my eyes, playing along. How is that possible? I don't believe it. Single-digit fluctuations are normal, it doesn't prove anything. Tyra smirked and moved her finger again. She directly adjusted the affection level to 80%. I still didn't believe it. This is just a coincidence. She raised an eyebrow and lowered the affection level to 10%. I still didn't believe. Perhaps the system malfunctioned. Can you try a few more times? To make me believe completely, Tyra adjusted it back and forth several times. Each time, the value matched exactly what she predicted. The system excitedly screamed in my mind. Points plus 5, plus 77, plus 70, plus 88. Over 200 points in half an hour. That's bloody efficient. I suppressed my laughter and continued to feign panic. How is this possible? Tyra finally revealed a triumphant smile. She reached out to caress my face. There. Take back what you said about breaking up. As long as you're obedient, I'll slowly give you rewards, give you 100% affection. Isn't that what you want most? I pretended to choke up. So, the previous decrease in affection wasn't because you stopped loving me, but to deliberately upset me? My teary-eyed appearance clearly pleased her. The thought that I wasn't angry at her deception, but instead anxiously confirming if she still loved me, boosted her confidence even more. Of course, Tyra softened her tone. Lowering the affection to 60% or even 3% doesn't mean I don't love you. It's just a little punishment. After all, she drawled, looking at me as if bestowing a favor. I need a perfect boyfriend, and all this is to cultivate you, to make you more perfect. Understand? Her tone suggested I should be overwhelmed with gratitude for her favor. I cooperatively pulled her into my arms, a cold smirk tugging at my lips. Tyra, you think you're in control of everything. Little do you know, you're the one being led by the nose. I followed Tyra Harris back home. Once again, I became the perfect boyfriend. Perhaps it was because after our confrontation, my submissive attitude emboldened her. Tyra didn't even bother to pretend anymore, openly making demands based on her affection level. Prepare a foot bath for me, 3% reward. Give me a massage, 5% reward. Cook 18 dishes for this meal, 8% reward. I complied. After all, there were points to be earned. But that evening, Tyra tossed me a men's G-string. Put this on and wait for me in bed. 10% reward after we're done. She smirked with confidence. Last time you stubbornly refused to wear it. Tonight, you must learn who's in charge. She was actually treating this as a transaction? Was she using the affection level as payment for services? I silently cursed the system for binding me to such a character. On the surface, however, I expressed regret. Tyra. I lowered my voice. I strained a muscle at the gym a couple of days ago. Tyra's face darkened. How disappointing. 10% affection deducted. Let her deduct it. Points are points, after all. But as the affection level rose back to 90%, Tyra began to calculate meticulously. The affection level increased too quickly before. From now on, I need to control the pace. If it rises too fast, I'm afraid you'll become arrogant. At this point, I had just prepared over a dozen dishes for her, yet only received a 0.3% increase in affection. I held back my frustration. Wasn't it 8% before? Tyra swirled her wine glass. You know about diminishing marginal utility, right? It's like drinking wine. The first glass is the most delicious, but as you continue to drink the second, third glass, you feel less and less. But don't try to persuade me. I make the rules here. Tyra lazily interrupted me. Besides, as the one pursuing me, isn't it your duty to please me? After that, doing housework once earned me 0.1%. Making her a bowl of porridge, 0.05%. Kneeling down to tie her shoelaces, 0.01%. The increases became smaller and smaller, eventually evolving into 3 decimal places. Tyra thought that by keeping me at 90% plus affection, she could do whatever she wanted with me. But I didn't have the patience to play the stingy game with her. Moreover, the muscle strain excuse would work for a week at most. I didn't have time to dawdle with her anymore. Host, current affection level is 93.261%. You're now 90 points away from 5,000 points. Listening to the system's announcement, I began to calculate. It was time to make a big move. While Tyra was in the shower, I sneaked a look at her phone. Bob had invited her to the hills for some excitement. After a week of being chased with me, Tyra instantly agreed. They drove up the hill in a sports car. They set up a tent on the wild grass near the cliff edge. Tyra, are you sure you want to do it here? Aren't you afraid David might find us? Bob loosened his collar, deliberately exposing his collarbone and chest muscles for Tyra to see. Tyra scoffed. Him? He's probably on his knees scrubbing the floor right now, trying to earn a measly 0.01% of my affection. The sound of tearing fabric mixed with heavy breathing pierced the silence. When I arrived, the tent was shaking violently. I took a deep breath and suddenly pulled open the tent flap. Moonlight flooded in, illuminating 2 entwined bodies. Bob was still wearing a collar around his neck, and Tyra's hand was tracing down his abs. David! Tyra's pupils constricted. Then she raised an eyebrow mockingly. Are you stalking me? I trembled all over and grabbed Bob's collar. It's all your fault. Without you, she would have fallen for me by now. Bob sneered. Blaming others for your own inadequacy? I started fighting with him like a mad dog. Meanwhile, Tyra seemed to enjoy watching the 2 men fight over her. She leisurely put on her shirt, leaning back to watch the spectacle, her red lips curling into a satisfied smile. Bob and I wrestled our way to the edge of the cliff. The headlights of the sports car cut through the darkness, conveniently blocking Tyra's view. She wasn't worried, until Bob let out a scream of agony. Immediately after came my maniacal laughter. "I've finally gotten rid of you. From now on, all her affection will be mine alone." Tyra finally sensed something was wrong. She lifted the tent flap. "David, have you had enough?" Her words cut off abruptly. Only I remained at the cliff's edge. Bob's black earring lay on the ground, trembling in the mountain breeze. "Where's Bob?" Tyra's voice shook. I tilted my head, revealing a sickly smile. "He fell down, of course. Listen, what a lovely echo. You pushed him off?" Tyra grabbed my arm, her fingertips digging into my flesh. "How dare you touch my man?" I let her claw at me, caressing her cheek obsessively. "Tyra, I did it all for you. Without him, all your affection will be mine. You're insane." She pushed me away, stumbling towards the cliff edge. "Bob! Bob!" How ridiculous. She had only been interested in Bob on a whim. But now that Bob had lost his life because of her, those wild nights suddenly came alive in her memory. Though he was the top male model at the club, he still had a touch of innocence when he met her. She remembered how his young body gleamed like honey in the light, how wild and untamed he looked with a cigarette between his lips. A belated tenderness washed over her like a tidal wave. She whirled towards me, her eyes roiling with twisted hatred. "David, you mad dog. How dare you harm Bob? You killed my man, and you still think you can win me over? Go to hell. Let your system erase you." Tyra raised her finger as if there was an invisible panel in front of her. Her expression was so grief-stricken and nostalgic. Her finger swiped fiercely, drawing a long line from top to bottom. The system's voice boomed simultaneously. Affection level dropped to 0%. Decrease magnitude 93.261%. Points plus 93.261. Total points 5,003.261. Congratulations, host. Mission completed beyond expectations. £100 million coming your way. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Not the feigned maniacal laughter from before, but a laugh of relief and liberation from the depths of my heart. The novel didn't lie to me. Indeed, the best way to make a woman's affection fluctuate is through the disappearance of her lover. Host, do you confirm exiting the world? Without hesitation, I chose yes. At the same time, thunder roared in the sky, and a torrential rain suddenly poured down. I knew I was going home, but before leaving, there was one more thing to do. I crooked my finger, lifting the invisibility cloak from the person beside me. Bob appeared out of thin air. He stood in the rain, completely unharmed, and whistled mockingly at Tyra. Tyra Harris froze in shock. "How is that possible? Didn't you push Bob down the cliff?" she stammered. I laughed. "You know I'm a player in this game, right? It's perfectly normal for players to use some special items from the system." The truth was, I never pushed Bob Edwards off the cliff at all. I had simply used the cover of the sports car to slip an invisibility cloak over him. 2 days ago, I had arranged a private meeting with Bob. I offered to let him have Tyra if he would cooperate with my little performance. To my surprise, Bob wasn't interested in the least. "You think I should take the woman you're discarding?" he scoffed. "Tyra and I were just using each other. If she wasn't so generous with her money, who would want to play along with her games? All that cold sarcasm towards you before? That was on her orders. I was just doing the job I was paid for. A woman like that is only good for a bit of fun. I'm not like you, eagerly playing the unpaid servant." Bob was more clear-headed than I'd expected. So I changed my offer. "How about I give you £100,000 to help me put on this show?" £100,000 was all my savings. But I couldn't take the money from this world with me anyway. Might as well put it to good use. Bob raised an eyebrow at that. "I'm listening." We reached an agreement. Afterwards, he lured Tyra to the edge of the cliff as planned. And that set the stage for our clifftop confrontation. Tyra's expression froze into a ridiculous mask. She stumbled backwards, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palms. Why? She choked out. Before I could answer, she suddenly seemed to realize something. She jerked her head up, staring at the invisible progress bar above my head. Her fingers frantically swiped at the air, but to no avail. This can't be happening. Where are my controls? Why aren't they working? She panicked, her hands grasping uselessly at thin air. But the data dissipated like smoke, along with 3 years of arrogance and her illusion of control, all shattering in the pouring rain. The game is over, Tyra, I said slowly. I should thank you, really. You've helped me and my system earn a cool £1,000,000. If it weren't for your dog training antics, how else would I secure my fortune for years to come? No, David, you can't leave. Tyra suddenly lunged forward and grabbed my collar, her makeup a ruined mess. Doesn't the affection meter need to reach 100% for a successful conquest? You can't possibly leave. Thunder rumbled as the system's countdown began in my mind. 10, 9, 8. I pried her fingers off one by one. Tyra, you swiping at that affection meter. You look just like a clown in a circus. My body began to fade. Tyra completely lost it. She flung herself at me desperately, but passed right through my dissolving form. Don't go. I'll set the affection to 99.9%. No, 100%. I'll give you whatever you want. 3, 2, 1. The thunder swallowed her final scream. I looked at this woman who had once kept me walking on eggshells, now kneeling in the mud like a stray dog. I could only find it laughable. Farewell, dog trainer extraordinaire. A final farewell to failure. I never imagined, for months after returning to the real world, I would see Tyra Harris again. By now, I had fully recovered and was traveling the world with my parents. After splitting the £1,000,000 prize money 70-30 with the system, I still had £700,000 left. I bought a mansion and a luxury car, then took my parents on a journey from the northern lights to the tropical rainforests. Turns out that breathing freely feels this exhilarating. So free that I had almost forgotten the days of being controlled by Tyra's side. Until this day when we returned to England. Ginkgo leaves fell on my suitcase in front of the mansion, and a familiar figure emerged from the shadows of the trees. It was Tyra. She had lost so much weight she was barely recognizable. Her once perfectly styled curls now dry and frizzy. Wearing an ill-fitting old trench coat, she clutched wilted roses in her hand, looking like a faded image stepped out of an old photograph. David. She took half a step forward, her eyes bloodshot. It's been 4 months. I've finally made it to your world. Finally waited for you to come back. I raised my hand to stop her from coming closer, my temples throbbing. System. I roared internally. Come out. Stop pretending to be dead. After a crackling of static, a sheepish electronic voice responded. Hello, host. Long time no see. Explain, I demanded. She exchanged all her assets from the small world for a passage to cross over, the system said cautiously. From our previous 70-30 split of the prize money, I only got £300,000. While it's enough to retire on, it's much less than I initially estimated. Tyra found me and said she was willing to use all her assets to exchange for a way into your world. Who wouldn't want a bit more retirement money? So, I laughed bitterly. So you sold me out? The system was silent for 2 seconds. Host, I was thinking of you too. She treated you like a dog in the small world. Now that she's in your territory, you can treat her the same way to get your revenge. To make it easier for you to train her, I've even given you the same golden finger. From now on, you can control Tyra's progress in pursuing you. Isn't that good? Good my arse. I was about to argue further, but all I got in response was a busy tone. Sorry. The system you are trying to reach has retired. This bloody system had dumped this mess on me and ran away. David. Tyra called out timidly, drawing my attention back. I couldn't help but look towards the top of her head. Sure enough, there was a semi-transparent progress bar, with the words, Initial affection 1%, and with a light swipe of my finger, that progress bar fluctuated dramatically. At 90% affection, Tyra's eyes filled with wild joy. At 50%, she excitedly clutched her wrinkled coat. Back at 1%, she curled up like a shrimp, her lips as white as paper. Having fun. I withdrew my hand, looking at her coldly. This is exactly how you toyed with me back then, treating me like a dog. Tyra gazed at me longingly, her tone pleading. At least, give me a chance to atone. Her trembling hand reached out to touch my face, but I turned away to avoid it. She didn't get angry, just smiled bitterly and said with difficulty, David, I'm willing to be controlled by you. Everything I did to hurt you before, you can pay it all back, however you want. During the time you were gone, I've thought it through. You're the only one I truly love. Everyone else was just passing through my life. I know you're not ready to forgive me yet, but that's okay. I'll work hard to show you my sincerity. I couldn't listen anymore. I coldly interrupted her, asking, Is your sincerity worth much? As I spoke, I extended my finger. Calmly and firmly, I swiped the affection level down to 0%. The previous 1% initial affection was because she had helped me get £700,000 in prize money. I had maintained a sliver of gratitude towards her for the sake of that money. But now, she had crossed the boundary and disturbed my real life. This last 1% of affection also vanished into thin air. Look closely, Tyra. My affection for you is only this 0%, and it will never change. I don't want to train a dog because I don't want to waste any more thought on you. Even controlling your pursuit progress feels like a waste of time. Tyra's face turned ashen, as if all strength had been drained from her. She staggered and leaned against the wall. You don't even want to hate me anymore? I couldn't be bothered to say anything more and turned to leave. True revenge isn't about training a dog, but about not even having the interest to train her. As for how she would survive in this world with nothing to her name, what does that have to do with me? The front door of my home opened wide, with my parents calling me from the porch to come eat the newly fried soft-boiled eggs. Laughter and chatter filled the mansion, finally drowning out the broken sobs behind me. I hope this time it's a true final farewell to her, never to meet again.